few weeks ago on Gandhi Jayanti, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a new campaign. A campaign to clean the streets, neighborhoods and colonies of the country. An initiative called the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Such an initiative and campaign, if properly executed, could have a lasting impact on the country forever. Today on Crossfire, what we're discussing is the campaign a realistic goal? Can India achieve its goal of a cleaner India? Today, to discuss this, we're joined to my left by Kanika Sood, who believes that yes, the campaign is very realistic, and Nikita Saxena to my right, who believes otherwise. Kanika, we'll start with you. You have 1 minute on the clock. Why do you believe that it's a realistic goal?
See, whenever we started our education, we go back into the history. Everything was set, a 5-year plan for everything. And those plans, if not really achievable, they have sort of impacted in some way or the other, the development of India. I believe we are aiming at 2019 as a goal for this campaign, which is a very realistic goal, because under pressure, things happen faster. It's ambitious, but the rules are already set. It's just the implementation of such a campaign that was needed. Subconsciously, all of us know that littering is something that should not be done. We are aware of the fact that littering is bad, no matter if you're educated or uneducated, because cleanliness starts from home. Even if you're uneducated, you know it's not good to litter in your own surroundings. But consciously or unconsciously, we do litter. So that gap between that platform that was required, I think Clean India and the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan gives us the ownership of that platform, where we can create this bridge between the subconscious and the conscious mind and connect these two. And realistically, that thing can be achieved, because it's the individual people who are ultimately blamed for cleanliness. Nobody, no, God is not doing it. Some other aliens are not doing it. It's we guys who are here who are doing it. So the first point is the awareness part, which is pretty much there. So that's how I would like to say that the campaign is realistic.
Nikita, why do you think otherwise?
So if the only difference between turning my subconscious larger goals in life to my conscious actions was a catchy slogan, I think half of India's problems would be solved by now. The problem is that that's not enough to close the gap that she's talking about, right? So let's talk about the goals that are put into place, because the question here is whether or not it's realistic, whether or not it can be achieved. And to say that the awareness is there and not just the implementation is to leave aside a lot of the larger problems, because of its similar campaigns like the Bharat Nirman campaign that was done by the UPA government, which ran on similar lines, just didn't make enough of a splash because this was marketed much better, failed. So, I mean, you're talking about 20 million toilets by 2015. And this is the goal set by the government. The larger goals of the proposal are for 2019, as she outlined. Now, if the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, which is the people ultimately who are going to be heading the implementation, are saying that this is not possible, clearly there's a problem with the achievement of the goal that the campaign is setting out to, sort of envisage for itself. Now, secondly, when you're talking about cleanliness, right, and she made this statement about how all educated and uneducated people know that littering is bad, but the problem is that in India, littering is not such a homogenized problem. You also have the problems of gender. You also have a specific caste that is set aside to take the litter of people who are upper caste. So how are you going to solve these problems? And then the question that we need to come on is that if in a very, very ideal and utopian scenario, you were actually able to construct the mammoth number of toilets that the government is looking to construct to sort of eradicate the problem of open defecation, is just the construction of these toilets enough? Is it going to change the habits that people have cultivated over years? Not because they think littering is a good thing, but because they have sort of habituated themselves to open defecation. And how are you going to incentivize for them to make that change, to come using, say, a community latrine, which is what this program is envisaging right now?
Okay, valid point. Kanika, Nikita raises some important points. First of which is that this campaign is not new. Many governments, state governments, municipalities have done this in the past. UPA launched Bharat Nirman Abhiyan. In the late 90s, Chandrababu Naidu as well, pitched for a greener and cleaner Andhra Pradesh. Everyone sort of says that, but nothing really happens because it's not a new concept. So why would this campaign succeed?
That's what I said, half of our battle is already won, because we have had experiences like that in the past. The problem, there are two problems clearly that have to be highlighted. One is with the implementation of such a campaign. We can state it on a piece of paper in the curriculums and all, but who has actually told, okay, 2nd October is not going to be a holiday for most of the, for all the government officials. You are going to go to your area and actually ensure.
But is it just about that day?
No, it's not just about that day, but there has to be a start. There has to be, see, in India there is, of course, the marketing is quite strong for such a campaign, because personally with my organization I have been doing such campaigns, but the magnitude to which such a cleanliness campaign was required, I think we have had a good start. And if we just go by the implementation of such campaigns before, yes, they have been a complete failure. I would also go on to some other campaigns that have proven to be great success. There were mini campaigns that were launched in Maharashtra in the 2004, and other campaigns that religious leaders took up, community leaders took up, and you have to associate it with some kind of incentive, and that is when people will actually, you know, strive together.
What is the incentive in this case?
So when the Garda campaign was launched in Maharashtra, they opened a competition to various villages of that vicinity, and the cleanest village will probably get a sum of 25 lakhs for implementing what they think, and which is a huge amount of money considering 10 years ago. And then of course there were 3 clear winners of that competition, and those villages have become model villages for other villages to be replicated. So these are some of the campaigns that have proven to be successful. So there is one gap, which is the implementation, and second also the incentive, that what will I get when I clean such a thing. So if we consider it to be a political completely campaign, it's not a political campaign. It has to be the ownership campaign. It has to be more patriotic, and that is what Swachh Bharat has emphasized on. It is becoming patriotic in nature rather than politicizing the entire issue.
Okay. So Nikita, she's saying that it's different from other campaigns because of the amount of noise it's created, and it's created great public awareness. What are your views on that?
To me, it seems
just
really
a campaign?
contradictory, and it could just be me. But when one of the 9 people that Prime Minister Modi calls upon is Anil Ambani, and I would imagine that industrial waste is a great part of when you're looking to create a cleaner India. And so here, I mean, she's talking about, I mean, there seems to be this really simplified notion of implementation, right? And that is half the battle is won when there's awareness. But the problem is this awareness is restricted to the TVs that we are watching, sitting in our houses on Gandhi Jayanti as we laud this campaign. What we're talking about is the actual problems that this is going to solve, right? So I'm not even going to, for now, touch upon the larger issues, which is, I think, the contradiction between a government, as was clear from Modi's New York speech, which is consumer driven, which is trying to drive huge amounts of economic growth, and a Prime Minister who's talking about an ideal scenario in which he would remove 1 law a day, and a Prime Minister who's at the same time saying that we need to strive towards a cleaner India, which in my head means an India that is more environmentally conscious, which can't restrict itself just to creating awareness about not littering, because it's there in our subconscious and we need to transfer it to our conscious. But leaving aside that, if you were to look at the problem specifically that this program sort of takes upon itself to solve, right, and that is open defecation. So firstly, I haven't heard anything from you on the fact that just constructing toilets is not enough to push people to use those toilets. And the incentives that you talk about, so say giving away large sums of money for a village to become cleaner is a one-time solution. How are you going to ensure that this sustains? Because is Cleaner India just a cleaner India during Modi's government? Or are we looking at an India that is going to be cleaner in the many, many years to come? And if it is that, if it is the latter, then is just giving away a large sum of money going to be enough? I mean, that's a question that really nags me. So,
okay, fair enough. So it's just a small time, it's a temporary time that we're going to keep it clean. That's Nikita's main point. I'm going to let you give your rebuttal to that, but also brings in the larger question that is cleaning enough? What happens to the larger, there's a whole infrastructure and architecture around cleaning. Where does that waste go? What is happening to our landfills? It brings into question a lot of other things, and the infrastructure for that is sort of not in place.
Of course.
So how will such a campaign be realistic if the basics of sanitation and cleanliness are not met?
So clearly this campaign goals are divided into the rural and the urban, very clearly. Open defecation is one of the biggest problems, and I think somewhere even 2 toilets can solve it, even 3 toilets in a vicinity can solve it. So if we are here, we are talking about a huge number of toilets being constructed all over. If not anything else, at least it can start a process. I'm not saying 2019 India is going to be spick span Japan, no. I'm talking about people will know where is the nearest toilet they can use. There has to be a dustbin nearby, say 60 yards or 100 meters or 200 meters, whatever is a doable number. I would also like to focus that the rural side, if the panchayats and the gram panchayats are collectively responsible for cleaning their own area, which is a massive, you know, how many panchayats do we have, and each of them have been promised a certain sum of money to ensure that cleaning has happened, which is also a fairly decent amount to keep in mind to start the campaign or to probably implement it somewhere. I will come back to the implementation part again, because if you're talking about us watching campaign or TV, I think I wasn't one of them. I was there at Hazrat Nizamuddin railway station, which is one of the most dirtiest area to go to. We invited about 120 people to come and clean that day, and people did turn up. I don't know if it was a photo op for them or whatever. Even I haven't uploaded a single picture of me cleaning till now. Probably I should, but everyone should do it. That is the incentive. That is what the gratification is. Today's social media is such a big gratification that you are sending those requests sitting at home, okay, apply for this cause or that cause or join this cause. But are you actually going ahead and doing it? So if we can have a little bit of angle of the, you know, the incentivization or the gratification that is involved, that okay, you are a part of this, and I feel I am proud to be a part of this. I am not saying that okay, I support a certain government or I support that government, that's why I'm doing it. I say I do it for India. The second part about Ambani and the industrial waste, I think there should only be people who are creating more waste who should be invited, because they are the people who then are responsible. You know, okay, I have associated my name with this campaign, then I and my industry should take the measures. I should know what is my industrial waste, what is my e-waste, what are the other kind of things that I am doing. And with stronger CSR policies, I think till now CSR has been about education, about environment.
This can be another
So with this thing as a, because I have been to a lot of villages. I have covered almost like 2-3 lakh villages only in the Himalayas while traveling. And most of the problems are children want to come to school because they get a free meal, all right, which at home, of course, there are so many kids, you can't kind of negotiate that. Parents want to send the kids to school because that's the only free time they get. So people, when this is a gap, only the toilets are preventing the kids not to go to school.
Okay.
So if this is catered, I think.
I'm just going to bring up a point that Nikita meant earlier. She said that it's only one day because you need to sort of change the psyche of the Indian people and the mindset. So you can go to a railway station and clean it, but the person next to you might not be cleaning and he might just toss the chips packet.
Yeah, of course.
So is that a realistic goal in terms of also changing the psyche and the mindset of the people?
Till now, it has been a very, very tedious task, because right in front of my eyes, I have seen people tossing bottles, people, you know, just spitting all over, and you know, just using probably a wall for urinating and stuff. But if you go and make them conscious, that is what is required.
So you're saying that this is a good step. It's a good step.
A good step, because
and in the future, it's very realistic. We can reach that goal. Okay, Nikita, sort of, what is your response to that? That it's a good step, it's a good start. In the future, maybe not 2019, but maybe in the future, it will be a cleaner India.
I don't think the debate is at all about whether or not this initiative is needed, because to say that it's not would be ignorant to the point of being foolish. And also, it isn't to say that it's a good start. But given the fact that the debate is whether or not it's realistic, and that now we've somehow reached the point where we are admitting that 2019 is not maybe such an achievable goal, is actually us conceding to the fact that this goal is not realistic, right? Now, moving on, when you say maybe even 2 toilets will be enough, maybe even 3 toilets will be enough, the reason they're not enough is because they haven't been enough in the past. So if you look at WHO data from 2012, that actually tells you that less than 1% of the rural households that didn't have a washroom actually used a community bathroom that was constructed for them. And if that didn't happen then, there is absolutely no reason for it to happen now. So if you're saying 2 toilets are enough, 3 toilets are enough, I'm really not sure if they are, because Even the entire concept of community washrooms is something that we haven't really acquainted ourselves with in urban areas and more so in rural areas. And this I'm not saying from an elitist point of view. I'm saying this on the basis of statistics that have been thrown up. Thirdly, when you talk about industrialists who are creating the most waste should be the only people to get called upon, you know, such measures, I think that's where the problem lies, because then you're allowing them to get away with symbolism. Then you're saying it's all right for you to come and get a photo opportunity or get whatever it is, because when you talk about cleaning Hazrat Nizamuddin, I'm sure it looked spick and span on 2nd October, but I pass there every day for work, and yesterday it looked like a garbage as it has, you know, looked for the past 1 year that I've been traveling to and fro that area. So, I mean, that's where I see the sustainability of the campaign failing at a really micro level.
Okay, valid points. Thank you, ladies. You know, no great effort can be achieved without collective action and collective energy. And I don't think anyone's debating whether the campaign is a good campaign or not. It's just about whether it's really possible or whether there needs to be some more things put into the campaign to make it more achievable. That's all we have for now. We're going to slip into a short break, but don't go away. We have lots more on the other side.